When you're talking about Khun Sa, he's not a wanted man at all. Nobody really wants him. I mean, he's a friend with everybody. He's the most unwanted, wanted man I ever heard of.
They can arrest me anytime, but that will not be the end of opium. They can kill me. That also will not be the end of opium. It would just mean they'd have to find a new drug king. February 1994, Bangkok, the economic wonder of Southeast Asia. Bangkok is the engine of the fast-growing development in Thailand. A city of banks and big money, but also of corruption, prostitution and drugs. Bangkok is also the trading center for heroin from the so-called Golden Triangle. This drug haul represents just a small part of the growing quantities of heroin flooding the world from Southeast Asia.
Since the mid-1980s up to now, the production has increased from roughly 300 to 400 tons, 500 at the very most, to more than 2,500 tons in less than 10 years. And very obviously, the approach has been a wrong one. I mean, if you really want to solve this problem, if you want to look at the roots of the drug problem in the Golden Triangle, we need a completely new approach, not the traditional law enforcement method of the police agencies, or neither the crop substitution programs of the United Nations, which have proved to be largely counterproductive.
Bertil Lindner has lived in Bangkok for more than 25 years. He's a leading expert on the Golden Triangle. The Golden Triangle is responsible for more than 2/3 of the world production of opium.
The Golden Triangle is roughly this area. It's the southern part of Yunnan province of China, it's northeastern Burma, it's northern Thailand and northwestern Laos.
The north of Thailand, close to the tourist spots of Chiang Mai and Mae Hong Son, is where the Golden Triangle begins. Most of the opium production is in Burma, on the other side of these hills. Southern Burma is ruled by rebel Burmese groups. They're fighting against the military junta in Burma and use the proceeds from opium to finance their war. But according to the American Drug Enforcement Agency, it's the other way round. They say the rebels are rather fighting only to control the opium production. Number one on the DEA's blacklist is Khun Sa. He's the biggest drug emperor of the Golden Triangle. After Pablo Escobar and Noriega, Khun Sa is the new target of the DEA. Despite years of pursuit, Khun Sa's empire still grows. A few thousand new recruits train at his headquarters at home Mong. The front line with the Burmese army is not more than a 3-hour walk from here. Home Mong is always prepared for a Burmese air attack.
Hello, morning.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
The American drug enforcers are putting Thailand under pressure. They've put a price on my head. Nobody's allowed to visit me. Not even you. If I'm really such a devil, why can't they come and verify it for themselves? The Thai government doesn't give journalists permission to cross the border to Khun Sa's area. On the other hand, there are no limitations to Thai commercial contacts with him. There is a lot of money to be earned through opium, and Khun Sa likes to spend it. That's why Ho Mong doesn't look like the usual hideout. From Ho Mong, Khun Sa's Mong Thai army controls the surrounding area. In these hills live the so-called hill tribe people. They're isolated from the rest of the world. Only opium connects them with the people of the lowland. Show me. Why do you cultivate opium? If we don't cultivate opium, we'll have no money to buy rice. How do you sell it? We don't sell it, they come and get it. You know that they will come? Yes, we have opium, and then there's somebody who asks, do you have opium? And he buys it. Where did you get the seeds? From my grandparents. The family of this woman has cultivated opium for many generations. Nobody forces these people to cultivate it. Far from the daily struggle of these simple hill tribe people, the real power struggle happens. Whoever's the boss of the lowland decides who buys the opium. Who buys the opium? When they come, they speak Shan, but I don't know if they're Shan, Burmese, or Chinese. The Shan people are Khun Sa's people. In this part of Burma, they represent the majority. They live in the lowlands. Since Khun Sa came to power in Ho Mong, it's he who decides who can purchase the opium.
Merchants would buy the raw opium from the farmers. But the merchant is just a merchant, and he's transporting a valuable commodity like opium. He needs protection. So then Khun Sa has an army. The army, Khun Sa's army, will move in, provide protection for the merchants. The merchants will go with him, and they will pay a fee to Khun Sa. Then the opium moves from the hills of northern Shan state near the Chinese Yunnan frontier down to the Thai border, where the refineries are located. Again, these refineries are not necessarily owned by Khun Sa, not even run by him. These refineries, and most of them, belong to very powerful syndicates, most of them based in Hong Kong and Macau. And again, you need protection. Khun Sa has an army, he provides protection for the heroin refineries for a fee. And that is how Khun Sa makes his money.
Khun Sa doesn't look upon himself as a drug king. He uses taxes from the opium to give his Shan people an independent state. In December 1993, he proclaimed independency of his state. For the moment, his parliament looks a little improvised. Burma and Shan are not the same. Our houses were taken by the English. We threw them out. After the British went, the Burmese started acting the same way. It's about time the world helped us to fight the Burmese. Then there will be peace, and the people themselves will tear out the poppies. In 1977, Khun Sa first promised to stop the opium production if people would support the independence of Mong, the Shan land. Khun Sa recently sent a letter to President Clinton. In the letter, I've asked President Clinton to send a committee here. They must go to the hills for themselves. They must speak to the people themselves. Then they'll say why our people must cultivate opium. And they'll also see that when an independent Shan state exists, then the cultivation of opium can be stopped. The fact that the Golden Triangle is the biggest opium producer in the world is connected to the political instability which has occurred for decades in this area. We lived on the west bank of the river, on the side that was controlled by the Burmese. One day, the Burmese army came and took all the chickens away, and all our other animals. The people who didn't give voluntarily were beaten, and our men were taken to be porters for the Burmese in their battlefront.
Well, the reason why the opium production in Burma has increased from 30 tons to 2,500 tons is fairly simple. There's been a civil war there for 40 years. And in a war economy, opium is the only viable cash crop. If a farmer grows, let us say, tea or coffee, he has to carry the tea and the coffee from his hill tribe village down to a market town in the plains, sell it, get cash, carry the cash back to his village. You don't do that in a war zone. If you grow opium, the merchant, the traders will come to your village, buy your opium and move on to the next village. You don't have to leave your own village. So if you want to solve the problem locally, you have to look into the political problems of Shan state, what caused the civil war to break out in the first place, what caused the fighting between the various tribal groups in Shan state and the central government in Rangoon. Unless you address this issue, you're never going to get peace in the area. Without peace, you cannot substitute or change opium for any other crop.
Khun Sa tries hard to show the world that he's a partner who can be trusted. With approximately 20,000 men in his army, he says he wants to bring stability to the southern part of Burma. In Ho Mong, Khun Sa is experimenting with alternative industries. His people are working on the development of alternatives which could replace opium. These mushroom farms are just one crop which might serve as another source of income for Khun Sa's people.
Cabbage this morning for breakfast.
It smells good. It smells very good. Yeah. You want to try? I don't know if you want.
They're also working on their own traditional products. The garments which are made here are to be sold to the tourists in the future. Most investment is put into the work with precious stones. The Shan state is rich in mineral wealth. Next to opium, it already represents a big part of their income. The use of opium in Khun Sa's home Mong is strictly forbidden. In a corner of the city, there's a drug rehabilitation center where drug addicts fight their addiction the hard way. The addicts go through their withdrawal for 5 days in a pit, eating water and rice. Despite all these measures, Khun Sa gets little sympathy from the drug enforcers. From Khun Sa's empire in southern Burma, more and more heroin still heads out to the world. This is why Ho Mong is a fortress prepared for a long-term assault. A complex network of bunkers give protection from air attacks. The regional headquarters of the DEA is located here in Bangkok. Despite repeated requests, they didn't want to speak about Khun Sa.
Khun Sa, because he has an army, fits into this, again, this Hollywood-esque image of a gun-wielding warlord in the hills, surrounded by thousands of soldiers for waging this opium war against all the combined police forces of the universe. And the DEA is under fire in Washington for being totally inefficient, for having produced nothing throughout 20 years of war on drugs. And the DA has to be seen as doing something. And they succeeded very well with Pablo Escobar in Colombia. Nothing changed, of course, but still they managed to say that, look here what we have achieved. And I think now they turned their attention on Khun Sa as well, because Khun Sa's capture or the killing of Khun Sa would give the DA the PR boost they need in order to justify their budgets and their overseas jobs and so on.
50% of heroin from the Golden Triangle is sent to the world through Thailand. For decades, the Thai politicians and the military have benefited from the opium money. The battle against drugs has been just a formality. But times change. More and more drugs are staying in Thailand. Heroin is causing heavy damage in the slum areas of Bangkok City. Parents give money to their children to go to school. They're supposed to use it to buy books and pencils. But instead, the children are using it to buy drugs. The parents are out working. They don't have any control of the situation. We're very poor. We have to work. The children start with marijuana and then they move to heroin. By the time the parents find out, it's usually too late. In Wat Tam Krabak, the temple of the Last Chance, Buddhist monks commiserate with the plight of young Thai drug addicts. A herb drink purifies the body. It makes them throw up.
นำแก้วสามประการนี้โปรดนำแก้วสามประการนี้นิพพานังขององค์พระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้าขององค์พระสัมมาสัมพุทธเจ้า
These 14 patients have come in today. They are now taking their first religious vows in Sanskrit, in which the vows are saying that they will refrain from taking all types of drugs for the rest of their lives. The average age is 18, with the majority being on heroin, with only 3 on glue or thinner. Right? They will take these vows, sacred vows. Once they take these sacred vows, they will then go into the hospital area where they will drink the first medicine, all right, which causes the regurgitation process.
The therapy is focused on the mental training of the young drug addicts. To help finance the project, it has grown into a tourist and media attraction.
He has already received the Mike Sai Award from the Philippines, which is equivalent to the Nobel Peace Prize. He has to take care of over 13,000 people in this monastery. So we're working on him. Pak Jamrung Ban Shan.
In the meantime, the temple draws the attention of foreign drug addicts.
If you're in the army and you disobey an order, you get punished. If you work for someone, you disobey an order, you get the sack. You know, somebody that's on drugs has no discipline in their life. I sold my house, my car, everything I owned, right, to keep my habit going. Even though every morning I wake up and swear to God I will not use, right? So these people take your life in their hands when you go in there. And they will make sure that when you go out, you're not addicted to drugs. It is harsh, it is severe, but it's a long and hard road, you know. There's no room for second best. These people, particularly the Thai people, are using the best drugs in the world, and it comes cheap as dirt. The average age in there is about, 20, 22. I mean, those kids could be my son, you know. There's no room for messing around. They're just kids that started out and sort of thinking, this is good fun, I'm feeling pretty good. And the next thing they're addicted. There goes their whole life.
The abbot of Wat Tam Krabak doesn't only commiserate with drug addicts. He sees that the problem is growing and wants to attack it from its roots. He focuses on the hill tribe people who, for decades, have produced the opium. At the invitation of the abbot, about 15,000 Mong, an opium people from northern Thailand and Laos, come down to the south of Thailand and settle down beside the monastery. Is this the solution? This is my way to help people quit opium. One group comes, they learn a new way of living, they go, and the next group comes. The Thai government has reacted angrily to the abbot's initiative. Nobody knows how many people live in the hills, but there are certainly a few million. Thailand wants the hill tribe people to stay in the hills.
I think it makes perfect sense, because either the hill tribes stay in the hills and they grow opium, or move down to the valleys to grow something else. They cannot stay up in the mountains and grow rice or cabbages. This sort of the question.
The abbot of Wat Tam Krabak gets more and more attention for his work. Khun Sa has heard of him and asked the abbot to mediate between him and the authorities. Everybody is accusing Khun Sa of being a criminal. But nobody tries to find a way out for him. For example, Khun Sa told America, I have 3 tons of opium. Why don't you buy it? But they don't, because they're afraid he'll use it to fight the Burmese government. In Southeast Asia, international politics comes first. The drug problem, a distant second. Traditionally, nobody has made it too hard for Khun Sa because of his military opposition to the Burmese dictatorship. But recognition of Khun Sa's Shan state would not only provoke Burma, it may well also antagonize her powerful ally China, which nobody wants, not even if it means a solution to the drug problem. For the moment, Khun Sa will have to celebrate his birthday in an out-of-the-way place in the Burmese jungle. All the ingredients are here though, all imported from Thailand. The hill tribe people represent Khun Sa's power base. At the birthday party, they come to show him their respect. To them, Khun Sa is just the next leader in a history of autocratic foreign rulers.
I would say that he fits into the stereotype of a traditional Chinese warlord, a ruthless, authoritarian ruler who looks after his underlings, his followers, as long as they are subservient to him. And that's what he's doing up there. He has all the social welfare programs, he builds monasteries, even churches, hospitals, schools. But at the same time, there is a very ruthless regime.
Khun Sa's army is mainly hill tribe people who are now fighting for a Shan state. It's a country where they'll form the minority again. When will you go home? I don't know.
He can't say.
Why don't you instead say, you'll go when we've got a Shan state?
"99% of the troops or the soldiers of Khun Sa's army are forcibly recruited from hill tribe villages across Shan state. And they're taken away from their homes by force, and if they defect, they're executed if apprehended. If they can't find the defector, a member of the family is usually killed. So it is a very ruthless regime. There have been extremely few volunteers coming to join Khun Sa. But then on the other hand, once you've been forced to join him, he looks after you in a way. Because most of these hill tribe boys you're talking about, in the villages they wouldn't even have shoes. There they get a uniform, they get a cap, they get Chinese army plimsolls, they get a rifle, they get some status, some importance.
The Golden Triangle has been enveloped in 40 years of civil war. Khun Sa's child soldiers are the next in line to be sacrificed. Whether or not this war is about the control of opium production or independence for the Shan state, it's of little concern to the fate of these press-ganged child soldiers. Khun Sa, a man who claims to speak on their behalf, has made a proposition to the world. But linking independence with drug eradication leaves little hope for these hill tribe children.